US 219. Yeah. Alright, hello everyone, I'm Cornermarch437, and in this video we will be talking about US Route 219 northbound. In my last Control City video, we talked about US Route 219 southbound, going from Buffalo, New York to Rich Creek, Virginia, and this time we will go the other way, starting in Virginia and working our way north back up to Buffalo. So again, here we can see our map for US Route 219. Again, it starts in Virginia, goes through only about 2 miles of the state, goes through kind of a big portion of West Virginia, then it has a tiny part of Maryland, and then it will spend most of the rest of its time going north in Pennsylvania before ending in Buffalo. And I should remind you that if you are enjoying these road videos or really any of my other content, please be sure to give a like, leave a comment on the video if you have any feedback for me or if you want to discuss this highway any further. And if you really enjoy it, please be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get started with our northbound US Route 219 trip. And we can see here that we are starting on US Route 460 going eastbound, signed for Roanoke, and we are signed for Lewisburg, West Virginia, so I think that is a good choice to start. Here is our first reassurance shield of US Route 219 that we will see on in this video. And we can see here, we also got our first mileage sign with Peterstown, West Virginia on the top line, 2 miles away, and we also get Lewisburg as our bottom line, 45 miles away. And they're not even putting the WVs on this sign, so that's pretty interesting. Here we come into West Virginia, and you can't see it, but there is a Welcome to West Virginia sign to the left here that I did not get a picture of, but trust me, it is there. But we can also see we are coming into Monroe County, a certified business location as they like to proclaim at all the county lines. And we can also see that right away we are entering into Peterstown and meeting West Virginia Route 12. Then about another 40 miles down the road, we come into Lewisburg. We get this nice sign welcoming us to the town. And we also meet Interstate 64, signed for Beckley and Lexington, Virginia. Again, if you want some more insight on Interstate 64, I would probably recommend checking out the Control City Freak video about Interstate 64. I will leave at least a link to the eastbound one in the corner, and you can go check that out. And in the southbound video on Interstate 64, we saw that it was signed for Lewisburg and Ronceverte, and I said mistakenly that it might have been that Lewisburg was the northbound Control City and Ronceverte was the southbound. I think it's more of a double southbound kind of thing. But I can only ask you, West Virginia, why? Why would you not have Marlinton on that sign? Are you just assuming that nobody is going to turn northbound on US 219? Like, what's the deal with that? Now, I did look at the exit ramps, and they do mention all 3 towns, but like, why wouldn't you have Marlinton on the overheads? I get that you want to sign Ronceverte. It is like the last town of size you're going to hit on southbound US 219 before you hit US 460, but like, just put one of them on there. You don't need both Lewisburg and Ronceverte. Either way, people are going to know that they're in Lewisburg. They're going to see that sign. I would damn hope they're going to see that welcome sign for Lewisburg. Yeah, just go with one of them and sign Marlinton going northbound. Ugh, makes no sense. But fortunately, later down the road, we do get a mileage sign with Marlinton on the bottom at 42 miles away. I think this is, again, a little bit north of Lewisburg, but either way, that's good to see Marlinton on the bottom line there. That is the right pick. Here in Marlinton, we now get signed north for Elkins, as we have our concurrency with West Virginia Route 55. Here in Elkins, we have this crazy intersection with all these different routes again, and all these different signs. Again, just utter chaos at this intersection. And then we also see on the other side of Elkins, we are now concurrent with westbound US 33 and northbound US Route 250. We are also to Interstate 79, so that's really cool. And US 33 is a really weird US route because it's an odd number, but yet it follows more of an east-west route. So, yeah, that's really weird. Here on this overhead sign, US 33 leaves, and we just get US 219 and 250 signed for Buckhannon and Parsons. And I think Buckhannon is where US 250 goes. 219 doesn't go to Buckhannon, and again we can see to Interstate 79 use US Route 33. Then we get another mileage sign with Montrose on the top line, Parsons in the middle, and Thomas on the bottom line, 35 miles away. And you know what? I think for northbound, putting Thomas is fine as your next control C. I think Oakland, Maryland, like I would have had it in the southbound way it should be. I think going from Elkins to Oakland, I think that's just too much of a jump. And Oakland is not big enough to be signed for all that distance, so I'm fine with this mileage sign. Here we are leaving US Route 250 to join up with US Route 48, and we get another to Interstate 79 for westbound US 33, so that's really cool. Here is our ramp to get on this US 48 and 219 freeway, as we get these interesting arrows pointing down at the pavement. I had never seen this before, but I guess that's a thing that West Virginia likes to do, so that's interesting. Here in Thomas, we split from US Route 48, and now we are signed for Oakland, as we should be. Here's a mileage sign with Red House on the top line, 15 miles away. Again, I'm not really sure you need that so much because that's just where we meet US Route 50, and it's not even really like an actual town, so just put Oakland or maybe put something else, have Oakland be the top line, but I don't know, like Grantsville on the bottom line. Either way, welcome back to Maryland for a little bit. And as we leave Oakland, we get this mileage sign with Deep Creek Lake on the top line at 9 miles away. I hope you enjoyed that little joke I did in the southbound video about that town. And then we get Kaiser's Ridge, I don't know how you pronounce that, but either way, it's on our bottom line at 25 miles away. And frankly, I think you could just have that be a second line on this and have Grantsville be the bottom line or something else. Either way, these are, like, that's also, like, not even really a town. It's just where we meet Interstate 68. At our interchange with Interstate 68 and US Route 40, we can see that we just get signed for Cumberland, so that's not great. Although 68 does get the nice westbound control city of Morgantown, that's good, because it's really the only city like west of here that really matters. And yeah, like there's nothing else to put. US 40 gets signed for Uniontown, but we're not really concerned so much about that. Here we are leaving Interstate 68 and US 40, and we get signed for Myersdale, Pennsylvania, so I think that is a good choice. That's the first town in Pennsylvania that is really important. You want to put on that sign. Although I wouldn't be upset if they just skipped straight to Somerset, because, you know, it's Somerset, you meet the Pennsylvania Turnpike there. Here we are going through this roundabout again. The first exit is for Interstate 68 and US 40 East. If you didn't want to get off here, or I don't know, whatever reason you would want to get back on 68 and 40. And then the next exit is for US 219, and then the last exit is for Business 219. Well, after that, then there's an exit for South 219 and West 68. Either way, we're going to be taking northbound US Route 219 here, as we say farewell to Interstate 68 with this beautiful view. We come into Pennsylvania and we see a bunch of signs right away, such as Somerset County, again the Flight 93 Memorial Highway, a reassurance shield, and the welcome sign that I wish we would have gotten going southbound, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Then we get another mileage sign with Salisbury, I don't know how you pronounce that, on the top line 2 miles away, and Myersdale is our bottom line at 7 miles away. I feel like at this point you could just have Myersdale be the top line, and then Somerset like being our primary control at this point, because Salisbury is only 2 miles away, and like Myersdale is 3 times the size of Salisbury, so it's way more important as a control city. Although on the next mileage sign that we take a look at, we get Somerset on the top line and Johnstown as our bottom line at 41 miles away, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Here we pass over the Pennsylvania Turnpike, where again we don't have a direct interchange with it. It's the whole convoluted Somerset mess, which I ranted about in the southbound video, which I will leave up in the corner if you want to go see that. Here is our exit that is marked for the turnpike, but in reality this is just the Pennsylvania 601 exit. And then on the next mileage sign we see, once again, our primary has now moved to the top line, and we get Ebensburg on the bottom line, 38 miles away. So, again, this is a pretty good mileage sign. Here at our junction with US Route 30, we still get sign for Johnstown, and that's fine because, well, Johnstown is the biggest thing we're going to see northbound until the end of the road in Buffalo. There's another mileage sign with Johnstown and Ebensburg, so again, good stuff. We meet Pennsylvania Route 56 again, and then we get northbound just Ebensburg, so that's cool. Here is a mileage sign with just Ebensburg on it 15 miles away. I feel like you could probably have something else on there, but if you're just going to have one, yeah, I agree with Ebensburg. We meet US Route 22 again, and it gets the stupid eastbound control city of Hollidaysburg as opposed to Altoona. I don't know why you wouldn't have Altoona on there. Makes 0 sense. And then we get West 22 for Blairsville, which I'm kind of okay with, but at the same time, you could also just do Pittsburgh. But the one that is really important to us, the sign that is really important to us here is that we are now signed North US 219 to US 422, Carrolltown and Indiana. And okay, I get having Indiana on there because that's where 422 is going to go. But why Carrolltown? Going southbound, we were signing Ebensburg from 72 miles away, and you can't reciprocate that here. You can't sign DuBois coming out of Ebensburg. You gotta go with Carrolltown. Like, what the heck? I think that makes no sense. DuBois would absolutely make sense to be signed here because it's about the same size as Brockway, which we talked about near the beginning of the southbound video, and that's definitely more appropriate to be signing from so far away. Ugh, I don't get it. So here is our interchange with US Route 422. It gets signs for Indiana and Evansburg, which again, I'm okay with the Evansburg on there because of the reason I mentioned in the southbound video. Again, link in the corner. Here is what I think is one of the dumbest mileage signs you will see on this entire route. We leave US Route 422 and we just get signed for Carrolltown, 8 miles away. No other town on there, no Du Bois, no nothing else, just Carrolltown, 8 miles away. So here in Carrolltown, then we get signed for Northern Cambria, 5 miles away. And you know what? I think that would have been a better choice to put on that mileage sign than just Carrolltown. Why couldn't you have at least like Carrolltown being on the top line, Northern Cambria being on the bottom line, or I don't know, Northern Cambria being the secondary, and Du Bois being a Panda! Why do you do what you do? This makes no sense at all. Why would you just have Carrolltown, only Carrolltown on that mileage sign when you have a town like Northern Cambria is actually bigger than Evansburg? Why would you not have that on the mileage sign coming out of Evansburg? Let's just move on. And then on the next mileage sign we get Cherry Tree 4 miles away on the top line and Du Bois 46 miles away on the bottom line. So I'm cool with that. Here is the eastern end of our concurrency with US 322 westbound, and I'm not going to go into detail about that concurrency because I already did a video of both directions of 322, and you can see the westbound video of 322 up in the corner as we get signed for Du Bois and Punxsutawney, because Punxsutawney is where US 119 is going to go when we meet up with that, and 322 is signed for Brookville. So again, we're just going to skip the US 322 concurrency. Here is our junction with northern end of US 119 again, signed for Punxsutawney, and we are now signed for Du Bois. Although I think at this point, actually, Moderate Productions gave me a good idea, and starting right about here, I think you could put New York City on some of the signs because we're going to meet Interstate 80 eventually, and so I think that would be a good idea to have New York City listed on some of the signs, because why not? Here in Du Bois, we get signed for Brockway as we meet Pennsylvania Route 255 again, and I said in the westbound 322 video, like in a text caption, that I thought Brockway was fine to sign on US 219 going north from here. Nah, I disagree with that. I think it should be Ridgeway, or actually, I'm not going to talk about it quite yet, because there's some science coming up later that I think would prove that even Ridgeway might not even be the right choice. But either way, here we meet Interstate 80 again, and I'm not going to talk about its control cities because you know what they are, you know how bad they are, but I do have a story to share about US 219. So back in 2009, when I was 10 years old, I guess my parents didn't feel like taking care of me for a week or something like that, so they sent me to a summer camp. And while I was there, we actually went on this trip to Niagara Falls. So here is where we would have turned north off of Interstate 80 to get on US 219 to follow basically most of the rest of the way up to the falls to Interstate 190. And we can see here that it's signed for Du Bois and Brockway. Then after we leave that interchange, we get a mileage sign with Brockway and Ridgeway being on the bottom line, 24 miles away. So that is at least more sensible than having Brockway on the bottom line and having something on the top line. I don't even know if there's really any more towns in between here and Brockway. Here in Brockway, we meet Pennsylvania Route 28 again, and I think it was at this sheets. It might have been the one in Ridgeway. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, on that trip to Niagara Falls, I got a sub sandwich from Sheets at like 8 or 9 in the morning, so that was pretty fun. That's what I love about Sheets. Their menu, like, you can get any of the food that they offer at any time of day, which is really cool. Although, it's not exactly the best food in the world, so, it is what it is. And we are still signed north for Ridgeway, 16 miles away. But after we leave Brockway, we get this mileage sign with Ridgeway on the top line and Bradford being on the bottom line, 60 miles away. And you know what, folks? I think we have our second ever Rare Pennsylvania W, because that is an awesome sign. Absolutely, Bradford would be the right choice to sign out of Ridgeway. And, you know, I wouldn't say that it's too small to be signed from this far away. So, yeah, this is nailing it on the head right here. Ridgeway is a fine secondary, and seeing Bradford as our primary from so far out, this is an awesome sign right here. Fantastic job, PennDOT. You have earned this W. As we get closer to Ridgeway, we meet Pennsylvania Route 948 as we have our concurrency to go through downtown Ridgeway. And we also get Warren on this sign for Pennsylvania Route 948. And I think that's pretty cool too. Warren is like 10,000 people, so I think that is definitely appropriate to be signing from 45 miles away, and would honestly also almost be worthy of another W, I'd say, for PennDOT. Here is another mileage sign with Bradford 48 miles away, Warren 45 miles away in the middle for Pennsylvania 948. Here is an interesting anomaly on US Route 219 going north on our way. Like, this is right before we get to Ridgeway. We get this trucks over 7,000 pounds stop in 2,500 feet because we are about to go down a big hill that they don't want big trucks going. Well, really most trucks. I mean, that's 3.5 tons. I think most trucks are going to be bigger than that. But either way, after this, there is a white sign every 500 feet telling these trucks to stop. Here is where trucks are meant to stop. As we can see, we get this road information sign telling us about the hill that we're about to go down. And those trucks are supposed to be in the right lane, as we can see on these overhead signs. All trucks over 7,000 pounds are supposed to go in the right lane. The left lane has no trucks over 7,000 pounds allowed. As we also get this truck north 219 next right. And here is the final split for trucks. And we can also see that on this gantry there is a no cars sign. Although on one fateful day in September 2008, Google Street View, they were cheeky enough to go down this road anyway, and we get this picture, which the quality is really terrible, but you know what? I think this is a fun novelty nonetheless. Weirdly though, as we go down this hill, we can see that there is a truck over 7,000 pound speed limit of 20 miles an hour on top of our regular 45 mile an hour speed limit. So I thought trucks weren't supposed to go this way. I guess maybe this is a warning if a truck goes this way that they have to be very careful going down this hill. Here we get another trucks over 7,000 pounds stopping 800 feet. So again, I'm not even sure why any trucks would be on this hill if they're told to take the truck route. But here is the last sign relating to this truck detour restriction, whatever, as we get another road information sign and the second truck stop. Here in downtown Ridgeway, we can see that we are still concurrent with Pennsylvania 948 as we meet Pennsylvania Route 128. Pennsylvania Route 120, sign for Emporium, and we get the same control cities we had before. Leaving Ridgeway, we can now see that Johnsonburg is our top line, and Bradford is still 43 miles away on the bottom line. So, keeping up that Bradford signage, I approve. Here we meet US 6 again, signed for the same stuff it was before. Then we got another mileage sign with Custer City on the top line and Bradford being 20 miles away. I'm not going to show any more Bradford signage or anything until we get to Bradford because there's really nothing interesting left. Here we meet Pennsylvania Route 346 once again, and we can see that we are now signed north for Salamanca, which I disagree with at this point. Yeah, sure, I had it on the southbound way it should be, but I think that from here on out, you should really just be signing Buffalo, because it's only like 70 miles away or so, and I think pretty much all the traffic at this point would be going north to Buffalo. But I know that Pennsylvania likes to sign the secondaries on the direction signs, like when there's just one. So maybe Salamanca will be our top line. We'll get Buffalo. Let's see. Here is the next mileage sign we get after we leave Bradford, and we get Salamanca 16 miles away on the bottom line, and we get Limestone on the top line 4 miles away. PennDOT, can I ask you just one question? Why is Limestone on this sign? You don't need that there. Put Salamanca on the top line and put Buffalo on the bottom line. Nobody is going to Limestone. All of the traffic at this point is going to Buffalo. There is no need for Limestone. PennDOT, why do you do this? Oh my god. This is perhaps the mileage sign I have been the most angry at in one of these videos. Because, again, you don't need Limestone. You know what? Let's just get into New York. Here is our welcome sign. And at our junction with Interstate 86, we can see that we are signed for Salamanca again as opposed to Buffalo, although 86 gets the awesome westbound control city of Erie. So, good job there. On our concurrency with Interstate 86, we can see Salamanca on the top line, 6 miles away, and Erie on the bottom line again, so that's good. As we leave Interstate 86, we can see that we are signed for Parkway Drive in Salamanca. Again, with no Buffalo in sight. Why? Although, at this turn, we do get a Buffalo 56, so that's good at least. And at another mileage sign further down the road, Buffalo is on the bottom line at 28 miles away. And here we are approaching Interstate 90. We're not quite merging into Interstate 90 at this point, but we do get an end US Route 219 shield. So that is the first time in one of these longer videos that we've actually had an end shield. So that's good at least. And with that, we will now move on to quarter march 437s the way it should be for northbound US Route 219. To start, I'm going to say it should be Lewisburg because it's the first major town along the way, and you meet Interstate 64. And then I would go with Marlinton because it's really the next sort of beefy town you'll meet because there isn't really anything else of size in between Lewisburg and Marlinton. And then I would say Elkins out of Marlinton, the reverse of what I had in the Southbound video. Although then, I would actually say that Oakland is too far away to be signed out of Elkins, and it's not big enough. So I would actually put Thomas, West Virginia, on the way it should be after Elkins, because yeah, it's a lot smaller than both Elkins and Oakland, but Oakland is a lot smaller than Elkins, and again, it's just way too far away to be signed from Elkins in my opinion. And then I would do Grantsville because that's again like another somewhat majorish town after Oakland. And then I would do Myersdale because that's the first important town in Pennsylvania. Although I would see an argument for maybe just skipping to Somerset, which I would absolutely put after Myersdale, if not after Grantsville. And then after Somerset, I would do Johnstown because, well, again, really the biggest place you're going to hit on this route aside from in Buffalo. So, yeah, no reason not to put that on there. And then I would sign Evansburg because, you know, you meet US 22 and 422 there, and also somewhat of an important town along this route. Then I would go straight to DuBois. I wouldn't worry about some of these other small towns, especially not only putting Carrolltown on a mileage sign. That was really stupid. Or at least put Northern Cambria. Whatever. And then from DuBois, I would go straight to Bradford because, well, again, it's another fairly big town along this route. I guess I could see an argument for Ridgeway, but I don't know, I feel like just going straight from DuBois to Bradford would be a really cool jump. And then after Bradford, I would just go straight to Buffalo. I think there's no reason for anything else to be on the bottom line. Definitely not putting Limestone on any signs because it's a teeny tiny town that nobody's going to want to go to. Just put Salamanca on the top line and put Buffalo on the bottom line the whole way. But either way, folks, that is going to wrap up my coverage of US Route 219 northbound and really all of US 219 in general. So thank you all so much for watching. Again, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I mentioned that the next video would be starting the US Route 19 series, but I decided to have a change of plans. I'm actually going to do a video about Interstate 99 just like Todd from Control City Freaks, but it's going to be from my perspective, and I feel like there's a lot of stuff that he didn't talk about that he really should have. So we're going to do that next, and then we're going to do US Route 19. So there's what's on the docket for the foreseeable future. And once again, thank you so much for watching these US Route 219 videos. And until the next video, everybody, have a good one. Peace.